Happy New Year, Happy New War to the Americans. But yeah, today I'm going to continue talking about dialectics because this is something that is going to be very necessary. And to the people who think that philosophy, especially dialectics, is a waste of your time, well, you're going to see. You're going to see. Once they come after you, you're going to see that the understanding of the logic of the movement of the substance is one of the very few things that can help. It's not going to save you, it's not going to rescue you or even provide respite necessarily, but it is going to give you an understanding. And understanding, I find, is very helpful in continuing and moving on and living despite all the circumstances. And of course, I'm not talking about extreme situations. Solidarity to everyone who is experiencing the aftermath of imperialist greed, specifically the US empire's imperialist greed. There is nothing personal, it's just profit, always, forever and ever, until capitalism is the dominating economic way of production. War and devastation are going to inevitably follow because this is how imperialism gains new profits, it gains new lands, it gains resources. It's not going to change. The imperialists are not going to launch some kind of soft version of themselves. This is just not going to happen. But going back to dialectics and specifically Ilyenkov and how he describes the human, this is very interesting. This one little article, it is very, very short. It is about the essence of a human, what it means to be a human. And it's very, very simple. Dialectics may be surprisingly simple. Dialectics appear on the surface as almost like, duh, it's too simple to be true. It may appear too simple to be true, but you've got to understand that in every single scenario, there will be certain aspects that you'll have to keep in mind in order to understand certain phenomena. So yes, the principles of dialectics are simple, and so is the essence of men, according to Marx. But this does not mean that it shouldn't be studied. Actually, the simpler it is, the more complicated it is to get there. The journey becomes a little bit more complex. But going to the Marxist definition of men that Ilyenkov is using in one of his essays, it is the totality of all social relations. I know. You did not expect this, or you saw it coming, because that's what it is. There is no single or even multiple feature or features that are going to define who a human is. It isn't about biology. It isn't about the genus, even. It is about the genesis, the way we have become who we are. And the genesis is tightly connected to the social relations, because the humans became who we are through this very complex, intricate web of social relations. We have come to communicate because we needed to perform labor together, because it created this efficiency, it created this ability to gain food products, food items easier. And then as speech developed, so did the social relations. And they have become more and more complex. And money is one of the pinnacles, so to speak, of such relations, but it is not the end, and it is not the final stage of us being human. But this is me adding to this discourse, of course, which is kind of obvious to me. I don't think Ilyenkov would really argue much with this, but yeah, the human being is defined by the totality of the social relations. That implies the history, that implies all of the journeys that all of the different groups of people had to take under in order to become who they are. And you are not excluded from this group just because of certain features or characteristics. So being a human is not a title. Being a human is not something you have to deserve. Being a human is not something you work towards. Being a human is being born into a totality of social relations. So how we embody the totality of these relations, yes, these may differ. We may pick and choose different paths, but it's all always going to be connected to everyone else and everything else outside of us. It's never going to be just our own little whims and fancies. We decide what we do because of all of these little paths that lead us towards certain decisions. And I always argue it's ideology. Ilyenkov, as far as I remember, called it the social consciousness, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we as humans, as a species, are not defined by our features. The whole is always bigger than the sum of its parts. All of these separate features and characteristics, they may change. The way we look, the way we talk, the way we prepare our food, the way we grow our food, etc., all of these relations may change. But our proximity to each other, it is what's going to define us. If we start living in communes, we're going to start caring for each other more out of necessity, out of realized necessity, which is freedom. If we keep on living in these kind of alienated circumstances, we're going to keep on growing apart. We're going to keep on feeling lonely, angry, frustrated, etc., etc. We are going to lose all kinds of qualities if we continue living in this hellscape, but this is not going to take away from our basic humanity, which is all the history that led to this, to whatever it is we observe nowadays. And yes, some may argue that this is terrible. What we live in nowadays, the capitalist hellscape, the imperialist war and plunder, this is terrible. And I agree. But the goal of dialectics is to understand the truth. And the truth is not concerned with morality. That does not mean we should become cruel and callous. What it means is that we have to understand that it is not just appealing to somebody's ethical sense, somebody's sense of justice that we have to take into account when we talk to people about communism and socialism. We have to take into account all of these various aspects of the truth. So we cannot exclude people because they may appear a certain way. We cannot exclude people because they are not agreeing with us. We cannot play into the fascist purity Olympics where they place people in certain hierarchies. Humans are defined by the totality of their social relations. Everybody who has done something terrible has many, many people behind them who have shaped them. Many, many people who have indirectly influenced them. Many, many, many years of economic circumstances that led to such a person to appear. We should not be focusing on personal accountability. We should not be focusing on, again, morality and the judgment and all kinds of puritanist practices. What we have to be focusing on is as many people as possible should come to realize that all of this, the capitalist economic circumstances, they're not serving us. They're not helping us become the next version of humanity that we strive towards, the version that does not kill themselves and the planet, the one that cares for itself and its members. If we want this, we have to appeal to the truth. And the truth changes, but it doesn't change based on whims and fancy. It is changing according to the laws, the rules of the movement of the substance. And in order to understand the laws and the movement of the substance, you've got to study dialectics. So this one little essay of Ilyenkov that helps us define a man or a person, it's very accessible. I don't know if it is available in English easily, but I will try and search for it if I have time today. But if not, please do find it. And Marxist definition, I do believe, is very much all-encompassing. It is not the features. It is not participation, even. If you're born into the circumstances of capitalism, it is not something that you can change by desiring, by willing. It is something that you have to first understand. You have to understand how capitalism works, and then you will see that its negation, socialism, all of a sudden arises, not in a ready-to-go form, but in a form that is constantly moving, changing, adjusting itself in accordance with reality. So let me know what you think. Hopefully, we're going to be able to achieve something good this year. I'm not gonna lie, the beginning of this year has me not quite happy, but this is just how it's gonna be. It's gonna keep on getting worse until it gets better. And it is only going to get better if we all participate to the best of our ability in organizing efforts locally together with people who are like-minded, who are somewhat trustworthy. We've got to organize in any capacity we can. There is no deed that is too small, because we have to involve as many people as possible and as soon as possible, because yeah, it is going to keep on getting worse and worse and worse, and we've got to be prepared. So hopefully you'll have a good day today. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Do take care of yourself and your community first. Subscribe to me on all the other social medias, even though I don't do much there. And I'll talk to you sometime later.